over the past week since last Tuesday, all on this video, and then I'm going to be telling you a couple extra things too. So I'm going to try to move kind of quickly because I have a lot of little things to talk about. Number one, this week's time-lapse video is going to be another Halloween video, and it's going to be a Lady Gaga outfit, the one that she wore at the very beginning of the Bad Romance video. It's one of my favorites, and it's from an Alexander Mcqueen collection from the past. So that's what we'll be doing this week, coming on Friday. But I usually upload it like late Friday night or early Saturday morning. So be on the lookout for that. I'm very excited about that. And this next week's new show, something that I've been thinking about for a while, is something really simple. It's called The Tip of the Week. And it's a show where I will be showing you something small, something that should be easy to implement, something just to add a little extra knowledge to your sewing repertoire. Okay, so that'll be very, very interesting. And the very first idea that I have is going to be how to sew just your regular sleeve, and I'll be showing the two different techniques of sewing sleeves, so that'll be great. And then also, let's see, I am in the market for an HD camera to help improve my video quality, because I keep looking at my videos and I'm really critical about the way my videos appear, and they're so grainy looking, and I don't like that. And I see other people's videos and it's nice and clear like we're watching TV, and my videos still look like the guy in his bedroom teaching people how to sew, hopefully, right? So so anyway, I'm in the market for that. And then I'm also starting to play around with a program called Lightworks, and it's a free video editing program. So my videos may start to look a little different in the future, so don't freak out or be alarmed. But anyway, that's it. Now on to the questions. Now, number one is from someone named Andres Pinedo. Thank you for submitting this question, Andres. And he says, I love the Gaga dress you're making, or getting ready to make. And he says, thank you. I got a question. Do you have any tips or tricks on sewing a sleeve? And that's from Andre Pinedo. Now, Mr. Andres, I actually will be using this as the very first thing that I'm going to talk about on the tip of the week video, the very first one. Now, the tip of the week's video, they're going to be on the Fridays in between when I'm doing, what am I doing? When I'm not doing the other video, the time-lapse videos. So the time-lapse videos we do every other week. This is a time-lapse week. And then next week, we'll be doing the very first tip of the week video, so that'll be really interesting. Okay, now just to answer your question directly, two really basic ways to sew a sleeve on. You can sew the shoulders first of the bodice, and then you can sew this seam next, so you can connect the sleeve, and so then your underarm seam will be completely open from the seam all the way down to the body of the garment. And then you can just sew that seam last and just make sure you match up this intersection under here, and you're done. Or you can sew the sleeve on completely last and set the sleeve into the garment. So you can sew the shoulders and then the side seam of the garment first. And then you can sew the underarm seam of the sleeve separately. And then the last seam you have to sew is just the circular armhole seam. That way it's a little harder. It's much easier to just sew the sleeve to the garment after you sew the shoulders, and then just sew the big underarm seam all at once. That's how a lot of factories and stuff do t-shirts and stuff, because it's so much easier to sew, and it's a lot quicker. Because it takes it's a little tricky just to set the sleeve in. So anywho, that's it. Question number 2 is from Freya number 1. Thank you, Freya, for submitting another wonderful question. So she says, you answered my question really well. Thank you a lot. just out of curiosity, how much do you spend on average for fabric for your tutorials? Now, I answered, we talked about a wedding dress that she wanted to make after a Yolande Chris design, which was very, very pretty. And very, very ambitious, Miss Priya. But you can do it. Go do it. So anyway, and I think I included a link down in the description if you want to see what dress she did or wanted to do or is getting ready to work on. And let's see. Okay, so to answer your question, let's see. I use what I have already. It's a lot of the fabric that I use in my videos is still fabric that I have laying around the house from, you know, extra fabric that I had left over from stuff I made in the past, or you know how you go to the fabric store and you see something really gorgeous and you're like, ooh, I can make this and this and this, and you never make it. So a lot of fabric I have left over for that reason. So luckily I've been blessed to, you know, have, you know, money in the past just to get a little bit here and a little bit there. So now I have it, so now I don't have to go buy fabric right now. But you know, I'll run out, you know, in the future, but you know, at the moment I'm good. So let's see. And then also when I buy fabric, it's usually like on the cheap table. It's like $1 fabric or $2 a yard fabric. And I usually buy at least 5 yards at a time, because that'll give you enough for like a shirt and a skirt or something else, or a pair of pants, or you know, some type of dress or something. And then I have a large bolt of muslin that you guys see me use sometimes in my videos, and that bolt of muslin, I think it's like it was 100 yards, and it cost me like $200 at the time, because the muslin was like $2 a yard, so it was kind of expensive. So thank you, Jesus, I had the money at the time. So anyway, but it lasts a long time. I think I bought that muslin not this year in 2012, but in 2011, and I'm just now approaching the end of it, so I probably still have a couple months left. So anywho, question comment number 3 is from Baby in My Belly 11, and I thought that username was so cute, so that's why I wanted to put it here. And she says, thank you so much for this vid. It was amazing and great help for me since I'm a beginner and I learn by show and tell. LOL. Reading instructions just gets me confused. Thank you so much. I'm a subscriber now. Cheers. So thank you for subscribing. I'm glad my videos get help. That's what they're there for. So thank you for watching. And question number 4 says, hi Chris, do you know how to lower the feed dogs on this machine? I am wanting to do some quilting on it, but the manual doesn't state how to lower the feed dogs while I quilt. Thanks. And that question is from Miss TellaBling. Thank you for submitting that question. Now, I actually did quite a bit of researching on that. So, let's see, the very first thing to answer your question directly is, I don't know how to lower the feed dogs themselves, but if you wanted to get the feed dogs out of the way, the other thing you could do is get this little piece here. I don't know if it's gonna show up right. Yeah. Get this little piece here. It came with my machine. Hopefully it came with yours too. They give it to you when they tell you to get ready to do your buttons, or they're trying to tell you how to do your buttons. Because this is going to go over the feed dogs in order to keep the feed dogs out of the way. So you can see the little hole there it has, so your needle can go through it. And then on the back here, it has these 2 little points that go down into the machine. I have my machine right here. I can show you. It looks really funny because I'm using a webcam right now. So there are 2 little holes here. There's one there, and then there's one on the other side. And that's where it's going to stick into the machine. So I can show you this here. And it just fits right over the feed dogs. That way now the feed dogs aren't in the way anymore. Also, usually you use this foot if you're not doing it for the buttonholes, which I still don't really use it for buttonholes because it seems to catch the thread a lot. Anywho, if you're using this to do your quilting, it seems like you might want to do some free motion quilting because you will need your feed dogs if you're just doing straight stitching. But if you're not and you're doing free motion quilting, which I think they also call darning or what's the other word? Stippling or meandering. You may want to get a darning foot, which will help you with that. And if you're just doing regular quilting and straight stitching, you might want to try getting an even feed foot. I included some things down at the bottom so you can get so you can see kind of what I was looking at. I found a quilting playlist on YouTube and a darning foot usage example on YouTube also. It's called Stippling on a Quilt, and I included the links to both of those, and then I also looked for some brother walking foots on Amazon.com. So I included all those links down at the bottom. So let's see, this is the next question. Number 5 is from Lucy Monaghan. So when you are making more darts, you can only make 2 more darts from one at a time. I'm not exactly sure what you're saying. So what I think you're saying is, this question was left on my dart manipulation series video, on one of those videos, and it sounds like you're asking, can you only make a certain amount of darts? And really, you can make as many darts as you want to make, as you have the patience to make, because you can really put darts anywhere, as long as like you already have a dart there, and you can come up with darts too. Oops, that's a problem. You can come up with darts too, just to put anywhere in the garment, as long as you know what you're doing and how it's going to turn out. But usually if there's a dart somewhere already, you can just, slash and, turn that one dart into like 10 darts or something, and you can slash it up however you want to. So it's up to you, really. Just don't change the amount that's in the darts. Just make sure, if you have one dart that equals an inch, if you split it into 2, make sure both of those are like a 1/2 inch each, more or less. It's more exact if you like measure the angles, but nobody's gonna measure the angles. Anywho, so I hope that answers your question good. In question number 6, the very last question, and it says, "Hi, I am actually trying to teach myself to sew using sewing for dummies, and I'm a little lost. I have started to cut fabric, and I actually watched your t-shirt pattern video series, and it has helped me a lot. I use a rotary cutter to cut, but I was wondering if you have any advice on what else is good to cut with. Any advice will help me tremendously. Thank you." Okie dokie. So I use just scissors, and you can look at any of my videos. I just use scissors, and these are Ginger scissors, and they're really humongous, really humongous. But I have like this larger pair, I have a smaller pair, I have a pair of scissors that I use just for cutting paper and all of that stuff. But yeah, I just use a large pair of scissors, and it gets the job done, in my opinion, better than a rotary cutter, just because with a rotary cutter you have to make sure the pressure is even the entire time you're pushing the rotary cutter along the fabric or whatever. And the more layers you get, the more tricky it is to make sure that your pressure is even, because you'll be cutting and you'll get all the way around the fabric or the piece and be done, and you'll notice that as you try to pull it apart, it's still connected in certain little spots. Now if your blade is brand new, you won't have as many problems, but then you have to start replacing your blade more often. I don't know if they have an easy fix for sharpening your blade, like they do for scissors. You can just go buy, there's a little machine, and you can just stick the scissors in there and it'll sharpen your scissors for you. Or you can take it to certain sewing shops, or to like Joann's or different fabric stores, and there might be a person that comes there every week or so to sharpen scissors, and you can get them done, for like $2, or it shouldn't be any more than $10, but I've always heard $2 or something. So, and you can get them sharpened. With the rotary cutters, I haven't heard of much, but that could also be because I don't talk to anybody about rotary cutters, because I don't use it. So there may be some stuff out there that you can do to make rotary cutting easy for you. But I had my moment where I used to use rotary cutter, and I thought it was going to be so awesome, but it's just, you have to be so particular when you use rotaries. And you have to also make sure you're very careful, because you can easily go across your skin and not be paying much attention and get little cuts to really big dangerous cuts. So you have to be really careful. At least with scissors, the good thing about those, you know, most of us automatically close scissors, I guess because we've been using scissors since we were little. With rotaries, you haven't been using those for a very long time, so, you know, just be careful. I know you can click it and make it go back in, you know, whatever. But if you're trying to get a lot of stuff done and you're moving too fast, you might not remember to click it and close it, and it'd be easy to mess up some fabric, or I don't know. It's too easy to mess up with a rotary for me, in my opinion. So I just use scissors. So anyway, thank you for watching. That is it for this edition of Ask Chris Tuesday. Please subscribe to my channel if you like this, if I answered your questions well. If you have some other questions that you would like for me to answer, please leave them down in the comment section. And also like and favorite and share with other people who have the same questions that you know. And other than that, I will see you next Tuesday, alright? Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.